Hey, welcome to the Hired AV podcast. My name is Joe Way, and I am your host. And boy, do we have a good one for you today. I'm excited about this one. I'm on a roll, getting episodes out again. This was the start of kind of higher ed stuff and talking to our people years ago, and got a little off, and now we're back in. This is weeks in a row, and we're getting back to getting some great new voices and meeting our people and those who are making a difference in our industry. And I'm really excited about chatting with Aaron today. This is exciting. We're going back to Texas. I always liked Texas. And I looked up. I didn't know where the school was, and was Nacogdoches or something. Did I even say it the right way? I don't
Yeah.
know. And I looked up and went, wow, is there even a stoplight in that city? But I'm in LA, so I'm allowed to say that. But anyway, before we get into that, Aaron, please tell people who you are and what you do.
Yeah. So I'm Aaron Baker. I'm one of the classroom support techs here at Stephen F. Austin State University in Nacogdoches, Texas. Here in the deep in the piney woods of East Texas here. So pretty much do a range of anything from installs to troubleshooting to programming. I have a 3-person team. I wear many hats.
3-person team, and so I want to get so everyone thinks of Texas as being like flat and deserty, but it's not. East Texas is hills and stuff, right? So,
Not quite with the hills, but like it's definitely full of the pine trees.
all
So
right.
it's that lovely time of year where everything is pollinating and your vehicles turn yellow.
I kind of, I lived in Dallas. People know this. I lived in Dallas for a while, so we used to get out to like Tyler, Texas, and get over through there, and so go, oh, people wouldn't surprise that. So you're south of that, so you're kind of in the middle, like midst area. So I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, people don't listen to the show to hear about geography. Let's get into learning about you. All right. So you said you're a 3-person team of and you do a little of everything. So again, go a little bit more into your scope there of kind of what you do and what does that team makeup look like?
Yeah, so we have my director, and then we have me, and we have one other support tech here, and pretty much we have about two. I think we last pulled up, we have about 200, a little over 200 active classrooms right now. So we support anything AV and all the PCs in there, whether it's doing upgrades, whether it's even some AV of new install that didn't have AV whatsoever. So no, I've started dabbling in the programming. Our other tech has also as well. It's one of those of you have so many things to do in so little time. So it's been a fun experience, as you can see behind me,
Well, I
how
was
full
going
of
to
stuff.
say that is definitely a junk closet of stuff. And so I love that you say you do a little of everything. Now, you as a team of 3, is that like based out of necessity? Do you leverage integration companies? How do you do yours, or is this basically you've built from inside out here?
Pretty much, I guess. No, we have in the past gotten, especially if it's large projects, we'll get integrators involved. I'm the first. Our the classroom support area in our IT department is fairly new still. Um, but it's like I've been the first tech I actually got interested in programming, so I've picked it up a little bit. So we don't necessarily go with the integrator side with that anymore, but we'll exchange notes every now and then if I have something difficult coming up. But it's more of uh, depending on the project of whether or not we get an integrator, or otherwise it's in house.
See that I have mad respect for teams that do things in house, and I mean we leverage integrators and stuff. We do a lot in house, but especially when you're a small compact team where everyone's got to do everything and jump in and do that. I have mad respect for that. So let's get through. People know I don't script the show, but I do stock LinkedIn. So say you were a student and then left and now back. So go through your trajectory of your career.
Yeah, so I actually like to say that I stumbled into the world of AV
Didn't we
it,
all?
because
Yep.
during my 10 years here of getting my 3 degrees at SFA that I started working for as a student worker for Center for Teaching and Learning, And when I first started, it was at the very end that at the time classroom equipment and all that was under CTL before it got dragged into IT. So I got a little bit of a taste with their Crestron stuff from there, but I didn't do too much because I was more over the Zoom and our LMS video recordings and all that. But yeah, once I finally graduated, went had a stint at a local community college not far from here. Working on their LMS, and spot opened up here, and it's been AV ever since.
So talk about that though, because obviously you said LMS and all of that, and you go, the big transition, obviously even post pandemic, was that move into integration of UCs and integration of LMSs, where a lot of times there was separate. How have you seen that change over the course of your career? Is it something you take into account now? How have you seen that, or how do you even work with that team? I'm just going to leave this as an open question for you.
Yeah. So I mean, we looked out with the pandemic where we were already had Zoom. Zoom was our official. Zoom is our official lecture capture. So we already had the Zoom licensing and kind of the knowledge of Zoom and everything with that. So luckily when all that happened, we were prepared for it. But it's been an interesting trend because now we're seeing less and less more hybrid over here. It's either if the Zoom equipment's getting used in the classroom, it's for lecture. It's really for lecture capture if it even gets used. Or they bring in a lot of things we see a lot that we like is they'll bring guest people in from their fields and all that. That instead of having them physically in there, they can just dial in and talk to the class, and students can ask questions.
Mm. Yeah. I love that. I love that you're ahead of that. So now, when you're doing design, what are those things now that you have to take into account? Like I love. I'm gonna go down. That's why I don't script shows, because I'm gonna go down the rabbit trail. I love when people come from different areas and then you fall into AV, because we're gonna get to that side of it. But I want to say, like, what were the lessons that you took from that area and you bring them into now? In other words, another way of saying this is something that AV people should know that they don't necessarily know based on that background.
Honestly, for me, it was more since I've worked here at the university, it was more getting some of those relationships started with some of the faculty, and then getting that customer service side of it. Um, getting that realization of, oh hey, my class is down, I can't do anything, and trying to balance the hey, trying to get things fixed, but also do it quickly, and also get it quickly done enough that you're not just overlooking things as well. So it's been that kind of troubleshooting stuff has been, I think, what I've been able to carry over from working at CTL.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, so taking that now to today, and you've brought that in. What does kind of a day in the life look like for you there at the school, you and your team?
A lot of it depends on the time of year too. So like right now, with it being the middle of the semester, it's a lot of break fix. So like we had one, that projector wasn't working. It had to be that the Crestron scaler didn't be detected by the switcher. So I did quick fix with that. But another thing I've been working on is, okay, classes in session. Some of our podiums, because of the quickly of trying to get some of these rooms online for Zoom during COVID, the cable management of these podiums are not that great. So that's been another project that we've been working on. But other than that, it's if we're not doing installs, we're doing research. We're actually been gearing up to figure out what we're going to upgrade this year and try to get all that together and working on any programming if it needs it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cable management. I mean, here's the thing. There's nothing more beautiful than a great looking, AV rack and IT. But I'm horrible. Like get the thing plugged in, shut the door. No one's looking back there anyway, and get out, which is horrible. I shouldn't admit that out loud, but that is me. Yeah. All right. So all right. Speaking of then cleaning up cables, are you team zip tie or team Velcro?
Velcro.
Velcro. That is the correct answer. Yes.
That's that one of our guys before me. He was heavily on the zip ties, and we make fun of him ever since, especially when we go and start cutting him off, because he's still at the university. He's just in a different department, but we'll still mess fun. Like, oh hey, look, it's so and so's room here.
And you don't I mean, the thing is, zip ties can make things look really pretty. It's just until you have to go back that then you kind of forget, like, yeah, I shouldn't have done this, right?
We recently came up with a design standard, and that was one thing we made sure was in there was no zip ties unless it was creating loops for the Velcro.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so now let's go into the future. If you were kind of early into getting all the Zoom and stuff, what are you guys looking for the future? What is your kind of classroom plan, your event plan, as you're kind of looking ahead, kind of that next couple of years here?
One thing we've been working on, because of budget and everything, that we're way behind on some of our tech in our room. So we're actually one of our big projects was actually getting VGA out of classrooms,
Bum,
and
bum,
so
bum.
I think we're down to about a handful, like maybe up to 20 classrooms left that still have VGA in it. So that's been one project. Then
Wait, hold
another
on,
thing we've been
hold on.
working.
You said VGA. There we go.
Yep.
There we go. I had to. All right, keep going.
And then, but also on top of that, we're noticing a lot of instructors, they'll either use the classroom PC or they'll actually want to bring in their own laptop and teach off of there. And so a lot of our rooms don't have this setup. So it's been getting in and putting in a basic switcher, touch panel with controls for the display projector, whatever's in the room, even the camera if it has one. So that's been a ongoing project with us.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's one of the things is kind of that flexibility. Are you finding, so are you a desktop computer school mostly? Are you a bring your own device? What is your kind of
Yeah.
what is the secret sauce or everything?
Yeah. Right now, we're still using small form factor PCs because making sure they're having the DVD drives because we still get instructors still wanting to show DVDs, so we can't even go to micros yet, full in classrooms. But other than that, it's been every now and then we'll get the occasional BYOD, but for the most part, we're all desktop PC.
See, this is where now that I'm at UCLA for, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's actually been well over a year and a half. I'm gonna be 2 years coming up soon, which is just crazy. Feels like I've done nothing, but we were always a desktops in the AV rack lectern thingy, um, and I'm moving to a BYOD whole is my ultimate plan. Uh, that's like that move to people is where I'm like so stressed because at some point they're gonna walk in and be like, no, you've got to do this yourself. But
We're honestly collecting data because we're seeing with the students in computer labs, they're not really using we're trying to see how often they're not really using the computers provided. They're just using their own laptops bringing in. So it's kind of one of those like, do we still have the upkeep of 20 to 30 PCs in a room, or we just have that by 10 to 15 and then have space, like maybe a dock or something for them to plug into to get a real mouse and keyboard, but they're still using their own device.
yeah, and see, that was kind of my thought is like people are most common with their or common they're most comfortable with their own device, right? Even their own laptops. And I know that faculty and stuff, once you build a culture of, hey, you log into your Microsoft account or whatever, your Windows account, and there's your stuff, and that's how we do it, and there's my PowerPoint, and there's my I get that part of it of using virtual desktop and stuff on the laptop, on the lectern computers. But I also think, I mean, how many people just they're using their own laptop half the time when they're remoting into their remote, desktop to do their stuff. So we're, on each end of it, we're creating an extra point of pass through when really they could just do it on their own laptop and bring their laptop and plug in, right? Or ShareWise
Yeah.
or do whatever. And I think, but it's hard to kind of like change that culture, especially when it's been there for years, right? And that's how they're ingrained. Even if it's like, really, you don't need that step in the middle. And so if you do, as you do collect that data, how are you going to make that actionable? And how would you go about kind of change? How do you go change someone, your faculty thinking when it is traditionally, this is ingrained in who we are? How do you go about those steps to make that change?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm the host.
Yeah. I guess it's more, training in general, just like, hey, let them know. Because one thing we're also running into with our PCs is we're getting smaller drives. We actually had a batch where we got the wrong size drives got ordered. So, user profiles within a semester, it fills up the drive. So we have to wipe profiles every semester. So every now and then we'll get a call like, hey, where's my stuff? And it's like, well, you should have saved it on your shared drive that we provide you. But, it's a lot of a lot of training, a lot of like, hey, this is, you're already doing this now. We're making it more sense for you type in the future. In fact, we're trying to get we have some of our classrooms are full Zoom rooms, and we're trying to get some feedback from faculty if that's still, do they still want full Zoom rooms in their room, or do they just want to be like what we call a Zoom app, which is have the Zoom capability, but it's run off the instructor PC instead of a dedicated Zoom room appliance.
Mm-hmm.
So
What are they saying? What's the feedback so far?
we're in the early stages of getting the survey out and all that, but I have a feeling that based on some of the usage numbers we're seeing in the back end, that we're going to see a lot of, yeah, just take it out. Like we're not worried about it.
Interesting.
And then we have
Uh,
one department that actively uses Zoom rooms. In fact, they were adamant on a new classroom they upgraded last year that they wanted it Zoom room, not Zoom app room.
so, what is your percentage, if you know, as a campus of still leveraging hybrid or remote learning, and hence why you would want native? Like to me, and tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not, but here's what I think is you want native Zoom room if if your go-to is to leverage hybrid learning and you want it easy. You want app if it's a nice to have and sometimes you want it and there, but your priority is teach to the people who are in the room. Let me put my PowerPoint. I don't know. So what are your thoughts? How are you? Is that what you're seeing? I don't even know if there's a question in there. We can pretend there was.
It's kind of one of those, the departments we've been talking to, especially because we've had some new buildings come online that were going to have Zoom like just the Zoom app capability, and then the faculty were pushing back because they're like, well, we don't Zoom really much anymore. And then when we bring up like, okay, well, we put the equipment in there, you at least will have, it don't be a full Zoom room, but at least you can have like, okay, you bring a guest and speaker in, the student is sick and they need to zoom in, or if you want to lecture capture, like it's there for you. But for the most part, like I said, it's that one. Except I think it's just one department for sure is utilizing the hybrid. I think there might be a couple more, but they're not. If they are, they're not using the Zoom rooms. They're using our Zoom app rooms we have in.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. All right, I'm gonna pivot just a little bit because we've gotten to know each other off of kind of HETMA and stuff for the most part, and seeing there. So, talk a little bit, and you're on every time. I think we were just on a meeting together on whenever it was.
Yeah, Friday.
Friday.
Yeah,
I know I'm
yeah.
on a meeting like every other day of the week, so I don't know. And I'm like, I don't know which is which. So talk a little bit. How's the organization? How'd you get involved? How's the organization helped you? What are those types of things?
Yeah, so I actually found out. Director went to Infocom 2 years ago, and found out about HETMA, and during not long after during that time we had a incident happen here that was basically all hands on deck. So that thought process went away, and I forgot what made me think of it again right before Infocom last year, and so I got in and got involved with it. That it was, I mean, it's been helpful just for us being a smaller school, like trying to figure out what people are doing and kind of being able to get question a hive mind of like just other than what we're asking our integrator, like, hey, what's so and so doing that we know you're a rep for and all this. So it's been fun gathering information from other people.
Yeah, and I love what you just said with the hive mind because I think that is one of the things. We always say this, and I know we're kind of like beating a dead horse here, but the fact that we all have the same problems, it's just different scales. Some people just have more zeros, but that means both the good and the bad, right? That just means you got more of them, then you just got more headaches to go along with it. But we all face those same problems, and we all have our own kind of cultures and define, hey, when I have an entire group put together made up of all different schools from large, small, private, public, whatever, right? We're able to now kind of go, how did you handle this? Someone has felt the pain or is going through what you're going through or has gone through it and so, to be able to kind of now take that in to make it actionable on your campus. Are you finding that? And kind of give an example of something like that.
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of troubleshooting's been the fun part with that. We've had one of our switchers and Max don't get along, and asking the question of, hey, does anyone else see that? And like so many people can like, yes, this is what it is, blah blah blah. Like, okay, good, we're not the only ones having this issue. but I know we've been on the fence between the two Trons, like which ones do we want to go with, especially with some other things that one of the Trons have been doing. But so it's been nice getting asked a question like, "Hey, you're this type of school. What are you seeing?" and all this other type of stuff. It's been a real good resource just to ask questions and get answers in.
Yeah, and absolutely, and I think beyond that is kind of the community side, right? And getting involved, and and being able to say, hey, like what I love about it, first off, is seeing all the people get involved, but to know that what we do, we're making an impact kind of to the global higher ed AV community, right? Everything we do is improving us and giving us more of a voice as an industry. And that's where I find it. What are the most valuable takeaways for you?
Yeah, it's always been the community and getting active. Like I know when I messaged Ann about like, hey, I'm available to help with the virtual conference if you need anyone, and she emailed me back like, hey, we're still filling in for this topic idea. This is a topic I had idea, which about the automation of everything, and I went, I'm in because we're dealing with the same thing right now. So that ended up being a fun little project working on that with Ann for virtual conference, but it's been fun, like getting involved with the committees and all this other stuff as
Hmm.
well.
All right, so go back to that automation. So, what are your opinions here on automation? I heard that was pretty a good little topic and conversation. So, where's your stance?
See, I'm so one button, touch panel, one button turns on everything and all that. But what we're seeing with our faculty is they're not using the one button turn on, one button turn off. They're using it like a multifunction remote where they keep it on that main page, but like, okay, turn off projector, turn off the TV, okay, I guess mute speakers and all this other stuff. Even though there's a big red button that says power system down. So it's been a fun thought process. Like, okay, do we keep going touch panels or do we go into where we could do still some little automation with physical button panels?
Hmm.
Um, but I like being able to control everything. Of course, that's also too if everything's talking to each other as well, because we got some Crestron and QSys systems that for some reason they'll just stop talking with each other, so the QSys cameras don't come out of privacy mode and all this fun stuff.
Yeah, so you made me think of something here because I had this debate with somebody because I said, and this is my proponent on automation, like I believe that our users should have as little roadblocks into effective teaching and learning as possible, right? Most people would, I mean, that's not controversial, right? But I always say, okay, so therefore my touch panels are famous for only having two or three options of what it can do. Like I always hated when I first came into higher ed and I would go to school and I'd be like, every single thing a switcher or something could do had a button on it. And it drove me nuts. Like I couldn't even figure out how to turn the system on because there were too many buttons. So I'm on hey, I only want them doing a few things. I want them to be able to do Zoom. I want them to be able to present. I want them to be able to turn the system on. Like, and it's like, that's it. That's all I need something to do. Right. And someone brought up to me and said, well, if you're only having two or three options, why are you even doing a touch panel? Why don't you just go back to the old push button, physical push button? Because you're not giving them options anyway. And I'm like, damn, that's kind of a good argument for it. Even though I hate it, it's
Yeah.
pretty darn good argument for it, you know? And kind of leveraging that, So where do you draw the line on customization of letting your faculty to have, their choices and you automating and going and guiding them through it?
Uh, I think it just depends on like how quickly if they want to change something, like how quickly can they do it. If it's something that's going to be quick and easy, let them do it. Like one of the real reasons I've been doing a new UI redesign was our original UI that an integrator did for us was we have some rooms with 3 to 4 displays on it, and with it being on a DMPS, you can have each 4 screens have something different. So that's how it's coded. You actually have to hit front projector PC, side projector PC, TV1 PC. So like they're not changing inputs because they don't want to go through all that. So what I'm doing is I'm automating it where I'll switch on all 4. Now I still have if they do want to split between like dot cam or PC, that option's still there. It's just most of the time the faculties want like, hey, I want to switch to all displays on document camera. So it's all that type of stuff. But um, yeah, it's very interesting because like even the like if it's simple as something as muting a mic, they don't hardly use that button on there. So like
Mm-hmm.
that's gone away. So it's very interesting to see what they like and what they don't like.
Yeah, and also how much power we have to kind of guide that, right? Too, and like, hey, we're going to guide your experience. But I love that. And one of the things that made me think of it when you, as you were talking, which is very unique, and I think, well, maybe it's not unique, but I'm going to ask you the question on it. You have so far mentioned both Trons, you've mentioned QSC, and I'm not telling you don't make a value judgment of which one is better. When everybody, if you ask one, you ask 200 people, you get 500 opinions. Okay, no, but what I'm curious about, being a three-person team and a smaller team, I rarely hear multiple system names when I'm interviewing people, where it's very, very much standard. This is where we are. This is what we're doing. Because obviously it's easier to support standardization. So, what is the thinking behind you leveraging multiple systems? How do you go about making the choice when you get into one specific, situation where you have to install? You know, Talk about that.
So a lot of it, like, of course, some of it comes down to price with our being a smaller school and our smaller budget. Like we were pro QSIS for a good while because we have most of our Zoom setups. It has 1 to 2 cameras, a DSP, and all that. So we were our standards bi-amp and AVR cameras. So that was 2 to 3 USB cables coming back to the camera. And QSIS is like, oh, that's one USB cable. They don't have to worry about extenders on either. But then is this for us to do it, we weren't be able to do as many rooms, and so we just kind of didn't really. To us, the price stuff didn't really pan out for that. But then, some of it's like lately. I know it's ever been everybody, but sometimes it seems like the quality of the components after COVID and all that's still not up to par. That we've had some issues between Biamp, Biamp, Crestron, and QSys. So it's just because of our reliability. Like we're still main Crestron school, but it's one of those of where we're still looking at our options out there. Maybe if it makes sense to go to another one, we'll go to it.
You know what? I love that, and I love I'm going to tell you, it's rare, and I talk to so many people. You're basically a case by case. Here's what's going to fit me based on the budget, the use, the need, all of that, and this is what I'll go in. And that is actually very rare. I hear more people say, "This is our standard, and this is what I will die on." Even if it's not exactly the right fit. And that's the interesting part about it. And so I have total mad respect for that. Going, okay, here's the situation. Here's where we're at. Here's the components. Here's where they stand. So how do you go about then doing multiple training? Because again, now one of the reasons I normally hear standardization, and is a legit argument, is well, I only have to get trained on one thing. I don't have to worry about being trained, and I can support. It's easier to support. It's easier to do a hot swap, right? Have extra gear. So, how do you? I don't want to say justify. How do you go about making sure you have all the levels of support, all of the training, and all that stuff?
Like I know Crestron. We try to make sure everyone gets at least on the basics of how it all works. But a lot of it, we really we learn all for ourselves. Like we have this is our classroom lab that I'm in right now that we'll test new equipment in, and we'll just we're one of those of play and figure out, and then if we can't figure out, then we'll go to the training and the instruction manuals. But yeah, it's one of those that it just all depends. And like some of our stuff too, like we really try to standardize the most we can, because like you said, the hot swap, that's our big thing. Like how much of spare equipment do we keep? And if we're adding another thing, because we ran this to this one of these new buildings that came up that we didn't get involved till after the equipment was ordered, that it wasn't even anything we use. Mm-hmm. So trying to hurry up and get everything ordered correctly and all that stuff. So it's definitely a pick and choose. Like when do we actually do it, and then are we looking to? It may sound good to switch now, but then we're like, maybe not. We should go back to the other. So it's been fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, because it is just very rare, and I love it, and I think that is a mentality that we all should be able to kind of have. And again, a lot of it sounds like you do it based on necessity and need and whatever. But I love it. I absolutely absolutely love that, and I think that's a great kind of learning thing for a lot of people. And I see way too much, and I've one of the things I've said before, because people will always go, "Oh, you're a XYZ house, or you're XYZ person, or whatever." And I'd be like, "Nope, I am not. I am paid to make the best decision for my university at the time I need to make it. And, and that could change. While I'm a huge proponent of enterprise wide standardization, I do believe in all the reasons for it. But that is, I think sometimes people will go too far to the death on something, right? So I
Yeah.
love that. I love that.
Yeah. See, what's been fun for us too is the reason why I've been kind of looking between our control system standard is management as well. Especially with being a 3-person team, how much of it can we do remotely, like fix, like if it's a reboot or whatnot, and going to like a cloud-based management. The way our security policy is, if it's a device that faces the internet, it's either a managed switch that's locked up for no one outside of ITS can use it, or it's all ran back to the networking closet. So with our devices, it's anywhere from 6 to 8 ports right there at the podium, and so it almost anywhere from $300 to $400 a drop. We're like, whereas if we can host it in house, where we can actually non-interface VLAN or non-internet facing VLAN, and we can use a dumb switch, it's it's one of those of like, so
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. I love that. All right. So now, my favorite part of the show, just because this is where I get to finally have an opinion on everything. This is a little rapid round. We have to switch to the rapid round. The rapid round is just nonsense questions that have no right or wrong answer, unless I have an opinion of my own, in which case you might have a wrong answer. They have no purpose at all, other than to fill more time and make the. No, I'm just kidding. No, these are fun. All right, so everybody gets the same first question. Higher ed is about traditions. So, what is your favorite college tradition?
whew, I think ours is, I don't know. I guess it more be like what we call the big dip, and it's when we all get our SFA rings, we actually our hand sign is like this for Axum Jacks. That we'll get our ring, and like we dip our hand to a big purple dye thing, and with your ring, and it's real neat when you get your class ring and be able to do that, and it's kind of like a mini graduation in a way.
That's right. So explain this more in depth. So you'd make the little finger signs, which is little
Yeah.
gunny gun.
So
Looks like
you
a
get
gun,
your ring,
and
so
you get
it's an
your
act.
ring there,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
dip it in
Dip it in.
like a silicone or something to make a mold.
No, it's not even a mold. You're literally dipping your ring into a big bowl of purple water basically, and it has purple dye. So you pull your hand out, your hand's all purple.
That's kind of, then you're walking around with a purple hand for the day.
Pretty much.
How many days does it take for that to wear off?
I think mine took a couple. I think it's probably why they do it on a Friday.
Well, that could also be embarrassing walking around for the weekend though with a purple hand.
Yeah.
If you're walking around campus, people would understand it, right?
Yeah.
All right, I like that. That is a unique one. That I see. I like that. I like that one a lot. You see, yeah. See, I think next step is they have to make a mold of it.
Yeah.
The purple hand. All right, all right. I will.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say that's actually my second favorite. My first one doesn't really happen anymore because we had a real good rivalry with Sam Houston State, but because of conference realignments happening all around, that Sam is no longer in our conference, so that rivalry isn't as big as what it used to be. But it was all sorts of fun with that rivalry.
Yeah, rivalry. That's a popular answer. I mean, you have to enjoy a good old rivalry. So, who's your rival now then?
It's our big main one has been Northwestern State in Louisiana. It's our sister town, and it's in Natchitoches, Louisiana. When you look at it, it does not sound like Natchitoches.
Okay.
But it's based off of a story with the Caddo Indians where one of the chiefs had 2 sons. He's like, okay, travel for 3 days, and that becomes your tribe. And so one son basically found it Nacogdoches, the other was Natchitoches. So I forget what they call it now. They end up changing the name because the Caddos didn't really like it name anymore. So we worked with the Caddo tribe to get it changed with the new trophy and everything. So I forget what they call it now.
All right, I dig that. All right, so now, all right, you've got some good traditions down there. All right, so I feel like these rapid round questions aren't as rapidy as they used to be, and as random as they used to be. I'm getting a little habit because I love food, and I love Texas. So when I come down and visit you, where are we going? What are we eating? What are we drinking? Where are we going?
Let's see. I'll probably take you to CC Smokehouse.
CC's. Oh yeah, okay. We're going back to a smokehouse.
Like that, that's one of my favorite barbecue places there. But the local brewery is one of my favorite places to go hang out to as well. I dub it my Cheers. I've been there
Wait, you
so
just said the local brewery. Does that mean there's only one?
yes,
Well, all right. There you go. And what's it called? We got to give them a free shout out.
Fredonia Brewery.
Nagonia?
Fredonia.
Fredonia. All right. All right. What's your go-to brew?
Mine is the Pine Cove Porter.
Pine Cove Porter. All right. All right. Do they have like? See, I'm kind of like I hate to say it. I'm kind of give me the lightest, most blonde beer you can. That's me. I know that.
They actually have a drink called the lightest thing we make.
Oh, all right. Load some of that up for me. I will be there all day for that. So back to the barbecue. What makes this barbecue the best? Because you've got to have tons of barbecue there.
I really like the flavor of it. Like, and they have a wide range from anywhere from, they have the traditional barbecue line with your brisket, your sausage, and all that. But then they have the grill side, which has their steaks, their burgers, some of their non barbecue items. But I think it's an old convenience store that got converted over to a restaurant when you look at it. But it's definitely packed during the weekends for sure.
All right, all right. So which way do you go? Are you a smoke it or a barbecue grill it guy?
I'm definitely smoke.
That is the correct answer. That is absolutely the correct answer. All right, all right. I can deal with that. All right. So next up, so this little question here. So everyone, this is the just you get a minute. Okay. You get a minute section. You're going to pretend this is your show now. Okay. I interviewed you. I made it my show, but you get 1 minute. If you could have any show, you can talk about anything you want. And trust me, I have had topics completely off the wall. You can talk tech. You don't have to talk tech. You can talk baseball. You can talk anything. Anything that's yours. You got 1 minute and your time starts now.
Ooh. Dang, put me on the spot here. Oh no, Apple versus PC.
Oh, all right, go for it.
I'm definitely more pro PC, but I
Wrong
have a
answer.
healthy respect for Apple too.
Correct answer.
Yeah.
All right. Well, give me the top 5 reasons why a PC is better.
I'd say more software support. More configurability, like different, like you're not just locked into one or multiple, whatever. I'll say easily upgrade and easy to fix as well, unfortunately. But I don't know. That's the only thing I can come up with for now.
All right. Then give me at least 1 or 2 reasons why a Mac would actually be better.
No, simple user interface. Don't have to have a cloud account to use it.
There's that.
Let's see. The software that does run on it just works. You hardly have any issues with it unless you're upgrading your OS right away. It used to be battery life too for the mobiles, but I know some recently, especially these ARM CPUs coming out, that they've been giving Apple the run for the money as well. So I'll say that'll be one of my pros out there.
All right, all right. I'll give that. So, no, that was a wrong answer, by the way. It is Mac is better. I will, I don't think it's even debatable, but that's okay. I'll pretend you can debate it. But here was my thing. So I said this. So I had one of my good friends years ago. Especially, I've been an early Apple guy, right? Especially with the old MacBooks and stuff. And he said this. He's like, "Oh, let me tell you." And he was a programmer. He said, "Let me tell you why PCs are better. What is better? Because I got 10 programs to do everything and you only have 1." And I said, that's not actually a good reason. I don't need 10 of something. I just need 1 that works.
Yep.
That's it. simplicity. I'm too busy and I'm too much. I just tell me which one to use. So there you go. That was my thinking, but that's okay. I will let you have yours. And as you know, you're allowed your thoughts. That's okay. All right. Very, very last one. I like to end on a little bit of inspiration, right? So this is advice. What is after, and I'm going to go, let's go to the HETMA round. Now that you've been involved for a while, you're calling into meetings. What is your advice for a new person who discovers it? Because especially going up to Infocom, we get Infocom before after are our highest times of new members. So from there, what is your advice for a new member who probably joins in? They're listening to this show and they're going, "Wait, HETMA, I heard of that, whatever." So tell our 5,000 people here pieces of advice for a new member to get involved and have success.
Just do it. Just get involved. That's pretty much what I did. I just hopped in. It's like I pulled the trigger and like, hey, let's get involved. Like I wasn't. It was a little weird asking questions at first, but then once you start, you especially when you get those regulars and you develop those relationships, like it's one of those that once you get that ball started, it keeps going.
Love it. And that's absolutely it. That first step is the hardest, right? I was just saying, okay, trust, because I know that it can be intimidating too. People come on and go, "Oh my gosh, these people, they know I'm with this, and my situation is," and no, your situation, we're all in this together. And I think it's that building that community, jumping in. And that's why, I've enjoyed getting to know you and seeing you in the community. Why I wanted to invite you on to hear your story and let you, kind of share your situation with everybody, the things you're going through, because everybody can relate.
Yep.
So now, the absolute very most important and last question. How can people get to connect with you and get to know you in case they would like to?
Yeah, LinkedIn would be the best way there. Probably there. And then I guess, like I said, I'm active on the HETMA community. So if you join there, be happy to chat.
Absolutely. Yep. Do look you up on the HETMA community, and I will have in the show notes a link to your LinkedIn. So thank you very much for coming on the show. This has just been amazing to be able to chat with you. It's been a pleasure. So again, thank you very much. And
thanks for having me.
Of course. And of course, everybody, all the opinions expressed here, hopefully you did enjoy this one, but all the opinions expressed here are not necessarily those of our respective institutions, organizations, any companies, sponsors, or really anyone who would want to sue us. So do follow. You can follow me at Josiah Way on all the socials, at HiredAV, and of course, HETMA_org on all of the socials. And take that advice. Don't be shy. Jump on in. Get involved. This is our community. So we thank you, everybody, and we will see you next time.